In May 1928, Great Britain and France have both made it very clear through diplomatic channels that they will no longer accept our expansion and our dominance over the American continent. They want their colonies back under control, and while we have paid off the British in the past through, again, diplomatic channels, it has come to the point that they are clearly threatening us, and we will no longer stand for these kind of things. Now, unfortunately, the new North Carolina-class battleships are still probably more than half a year away, but that just means that the fleet as it is will have to make do. While the French have not yet declared war on us, it is only going to be a matter of time. But even though just the British themselves have 15 battleships, 4 battle cruisers, 28 heavy cruisers, 43 light cruisers, 47 destroyers and 19 submarines. Even with our battleships under construction, we are definitely not set up with a large enough cruiser fleet in order to keep our colonies under control. And the cruisers will have to make do as they can. We don't quite know where the British main fleets are located. We do have large parts of the battle fleet currently busy supporting the landings in Honduras, which is one of the other things that have ticked the British off, because they are controlling a large amount of colonies within the Caribbean. This is something we are going to have to deal with, as well as the Bermuda Islands, which we cannot tolerate either. We do have the Colorado and the Mississippi, together with 3 light cruisers and a couple of destroyers in Charleston. We do have Kansas and New Hampshire, as well as the Minneapolis in New York. Although I think Kansas is currently under refit. I think yes, Kansas is currently under refit. So it's only New Hampshire that's available. And we do have a couple of submarines on the western seaboard, as well as a light cruiser in San Diego. And we do have the Pacific Fleet, or the Pacific Cruiser Force, more or less, with the old battleship Oklahoma, as well as the New Orleans, a couple of light cruisers and destroyers stationed in Manila. We'll be mostly reactive for the time being, and we'll play for time and try to gain as much time as we can. We do have some tonnage left, so we could try to build a couple more cruisers, but it's going to take a long time until they are going to become available. So for now, also we have our funds are running a little low at this point, so we definitely do need to be a bit careful here. First actions first, we'll spread out the invasion force a little bit, and then we'll see if we can intercept some British shipping. And we wait for the British to come and make their move, especially if the French and maybe even the Germans are joining, and all the European powers are starting to try to take back the Americas. Things could get very interesting very quickly. France has joined the war, and it seems the British have amassed a major invasion force in Port-au-Prince and are trying to take over the Dominican Republic. We'll do what we can to deprive them of any kind of supply, and we will see if we can manage to hunt down British shipping in the area. But other than that, we are now vastly outnumbered, and we are facing both the major European powers. On the positive side, the Italians have joined the war on our side, but it looks like Germany is about to join on the side of the European Central Powers, and as such, a world war looks like to be on the menu. The operations in Honduras have completed, and we are now sending the battle group over to the Dominican Republic and see if we can support the garrison on land with some naval gunfire. Otherwise, we might try to run our own naval invasion and see if we can eject the British from some of their Caribbean possessions. Meanwhile, the worst has come to worst. Germany has joined on the side of the Central Powers and has voiced their own colonial ambitions towards the United States. So we will be fighting Britain, France, and Germany Britain is the most advanced, definitely most advanced nation in terms of both fleet size and fleet technology, whereas France and Germany, France has a relatively small fleet, but Germany is bringing a very large number of heavy ships to the war. And we can only hope that Italy can hold on, because we definitely cannot send support at this point. We will just try to harass British possessions in the Caribbean until the North Carolinas are completed. Given that we have extra shipbuilding capacity and the war situation, we are expediting the design of a new heavy cruiser, which should help with controlling the more far reaches where the slow battleships currently cannot reach in time. So we are going to begin building the Baltimore class of modern heavy cruiser. We'll start out with 15,000 tons and see if that is getting us anywhere. Actually, 14,500 seems to be the largest we can build, so that should do it. I'm going to be conservative and going to go for 32 knots speed, because I do want to have a good range on these ships. The hull it can go up to 34 knots, but we don't necessarily have to. So let's see how we're going to lay out this ship. Let's begin with the most modern technology that we have. Given that this is a war emergency design, some of the technology might cause a bit of trouble in production, but that is something we are going to have to live with. So let's see what that is going to look like. Actually, what kind of rear towers do we have? That might not be a terrible choice. We could use that as a rear tower. Can we fit as a very long one? But the question would be, can we fit additional guns on there? So let's see. I'm definitely going to go with 8-inch full autoloaders. So that's going to be the Baltimore. The question is, can I fit an additional turret in here? That may be a little ambitious. It's not going to get the greatest of angles, and it makes it a bit lengthy, the whole setup. But let's see what that's going to look like. So, standard crew quarters. We're going to go with oil fuel, and how many funnels are we going to need? That would be 2 by the looks of it, but we actually should have space for a funnel in the rear here somewhere. Can we fit one of these in? Oh, that'd be a negative. Okay, so that space here, which I thought was going to be fitting another funnel, is not in fact fitting another funnel. Why is that? There's enough space for one. It's right here. We could get rid of those bolts and get another funnel in there. That is unfortunate, to say the least. So single funnel design it is, which means we can't go with natural boilers. How's balanced boilers looking at? No. Induced? Neither. Okay, we can go with modern geared turbines. Let's see, what gives us the best? That works for a single funnel with forced boilers, but ideally I wouldn't want to go all the way up. We could go for turboelectrics. That is going to cause some trouble with ship floors, but I don't know how much, because it doesn't even fit. It doesn't even fit on the doesn't even fit on the screen anymore. Not sure if there's a ship floor % chance anywhere here. Not certain there is. We've got the fire flood chance. Yes, that's something we're still going to be doing, but ship floor accuracy, well, either it's not here or I don't see it, so we'll ignore that for now. And yes, these are going to be experimental ships, first generation. Yeah, I'm not certain I like this, because this means we are going to have a, how heavy is this? 480 tons versus 435 tons. This gives me 14 aiming speed and 10 accuracy. This gives me better accuracy. So this is the better funnel, the better rear superstructure, and we save a bit of weight, and we have a lot of space still in the rear here. But it would make for a terrible forward weight offset. So we do have to balance that around a little bit. The unfortunate part is really that we can't fit another funnel on there. Let me try this one. Can I... This is the slightly older variant. Can I fit another funnel in there? No, I cannot. I mean, that I understand, but these should fit full, I care. Is it just too slender? I got a really small one, obviously not. But it looks like even the largest one just cannot fit. I would really love this to be a 2-funnel design, but I can't fit 2 funnels on unless I put the funnel down and then stick the compact secondary tower over here. But that looks atrocious and I don't like it. So we're not doing it. Okay, in that case, we're gonna get another gun turret, and we'll move everything a little bit rearwards. So let's move that back. And yes, unfortunately, oh, I can move the whole structure back actually. Not that far, like this maybe. No, I just want to move this. Okay, I can't move that independently. Fine, I'll do it again. Okay, so modern main tower, in that case we'll put it about here-ish. And the compact secondary tower, that's a little far, so let's move that a little forward. Compact secondary tower fitting. And the biggest funnel that we can fit. And then we can move the guns up here. I might just reduce the, let's see if we can do this on 13,000. When do we get a smaller hull actually? 12,000? There we go. We can make this on a slightly smaller hull. Can we do 12.5? Yeah, we can. Okay, so that looks a little less wasteful because we might not actually need that displacement. And the bigger problem is we have to armor that. We have to armor all that hull. So the less stuff we put there, the better. Anyway, annoys me to no end that we can't fit the funnels in there. But this looks a little bit saner in terms of layout. I think the other one really would have been a quad gun layout. So right now we're at 200 million. But we haven't put anything in yet. We do have balanced boilers, and I think forced boilers is what we kind of have to go with. What's the cost? So that's 8.7 for 197. That's 8.5. So 200 tons. 200 tons for the 300 tons actually induced we could go with. We can run with the induced boilers. The engine efficiency is not ideal, but it's also not horrendous. And while I would prefer it, I think I'd rather throw a bit more armor honestly in. So, I mean, natural boilers is out of the question, but induced boilers is sort of the next best in terms of displacement. Auxiliaries, what can we put there? Electric batteries. I'm going to try and save on the ship floors here a little bit. And just, yeah, let's try to not induce, because we are going to put the autoloaders in there. For a cruiser, I'm okay with semi-balanced. And what can we put hydraulic steering in there, but more modern armor. Let's see, this is 8,600, 215, that's 8,000, it saves us 600 tons for 250. Yep, I think we'll have to, given that these are supposed to be acting independently, we are going to have to go with the best armor that we can find. Now, barbettes, what's our 17% flash fire chance? Yes, because we're still sitting on cordite. Cordite 2 that is, and especially dunite, we don't want that. So that gets us down to a 5% flash fire chance, which is still existing, but significantly less than what we had previously. We might be able to still reduce that further if we were to use tube powder to 2%. I think that is not a terrible choice. Anyway, we are going full auto. Yes, that is going to introduce some ship flaws, but that should get the reload down quite a bit. And what can we do with... we have electrical turrets. That's the smaller... That's the... Well, we'll stick with that. And we still have to put torpedo protection. Let's put double bottom hull for now. Reinforced bulkheads. The best anti-flat we can get. And again, we have to be a bit mindful of ship flaws here with the citadel protection. We could go for the turtleback or the all or nothing. I'm kind of feeling either turtleback or just the regular armored citadel. So this is giving us quite a bit, but it's also increasing the cost a fair bit. So this is 9,700 tons at 280, 10.5 at 305, 10.2 at 302. This is not a huge difference. Or 10.3 at 324. So we definitely don't want to get the all or nothing scheme. So that's another 7.5% ship flaws. But that said, we do need, again, they are independent ships. This saves us 250 tons, and we don't have an awful lot left. We haven't even dealt with the armor yet, so we haven't even put any secondaries on these yet. That's something we need to do. So I'm feeling 5-inch secondaries. Just 2 sets of quads. How does that look like visually? That looks a bit wonky. Yeah, that looks very wonky. So not quads. Definitely two. Come on. Can I get rid of it, please? There we go. Not quads. 5-inch twins. Looks more sensible on a cruiser, to be honest. And 2 sets of twin 5-inchers. It's a little on the low side. So can we get a couple of 3-inch? What's 3-inch? 76 millimeter 3-inch quads. Can we fit those anywhere? Yeah, I don't want them. We can fit one on the forward superstructure. How is our? Well, we already have a forward weight offset. That looks a bit weird. How about the 2-inch quads? That's better. This is sort of AA gun territory here. So we got a pack in the rear, but we don't have an awful lot of space forward, unless we put them on the turrets, which I kind of find a little wonky. So that's the AA gun complement. That looks decent. Okay, so standard ratio, max AG on the secondaries. What kind of penetration do we have? Now these ships need to be able to take on something that's a little larger, so we're definitely not going to go with semi-armor piercing. I'm thinking cap ballistic for the AP. That gives us at 7,500 meter a 16-inch penetration. So that would be around about a 10 to 12-inch armor on the belt, which isn't an awful lot. We could still go one higher with cap ballistic 2. So that'd be 17-inch penetration at 7,500 meters, but the damage is relatively low at that point. But given that these may have to take on enemy battleships in a pinch, I mean, they can always fire high explosive with them. These are autoloaders. So maybe, I mean, cap ballistic 1 should be enough to deal with anything up to and including a battle cruiser or a relatively poorly armored battleship. If we just go down to cap, that's still 16 inches. Okay, let's go with cap then. And the HEs, we going. So if that's being used against what do we have for the reload? 3 rounds a minute. Okay, we can make these probably. What are these currently? 50. Yeah, 50 inches is 50 caliber is good. Is a good length. So if these are going to be used against larger targets, we do need to use the HE against smaller ones. So let's have a look at what nose fuse looks like. 1.1 inches, that's a little low still. Base fuse, 2.5 inch, that should be enough to not to penetrate destroyers. So we're going with base fuse HE and capped armor piercing. That should give it just enough punch to deal with larger targets, and still a decent amount of HE damage on those. So we've got the auto reloading, and we are going to get a coincidence rangefinder, or I'm not sure I like the let's see. I like the coincidence rangefinder, although it's cheaper, it's more lightweight, and it does have a good buff to the base accuracy as well. So let's go with that. We are going to need a sonar. That's 200 tons again. Hydrophones. Well, we'll go with sonar for now, and radio direction finder. Do I need to equip these with depth charges? I feel not, because that is going to increase my... right now we've got the flash fire chance down to 1.2%, so that feels like it is going to be adding to that. Yeah, that increases our armor detonation chance. Although I don't see it here, but that's for flash fires. But it's also another 100 tons that we don't have, because we still have to put armor on these things, and we're already at 12,000 tons. So I might have to make some trade-offs here somewhere. But let's see. Definitely not going to be able to armor ourselves against our own shells, because that's a 16-inch. So if we can get an 8-inch belt with 140 armor plus 140, that's actually viable. So that should work. Can we go 4-inch forward, 4-inch aft on the belt? We're actually at 11,000 still. Okay, no, then we're good. What's our deck penetration? At 7,500. Come on, game, show me. There we go. Deck penetration is 2 inches. I'd like a bit more than that. At extreme range, our deck penetration is 3.1 inch, but we might be hitting larger things. So 4-inch main deck, and 3-inch foredeck, 3-inch aft deck, 8-inch conning tower, 2-inch superstructure. That looks good. We've still got 1,000 tons to play with. So let's see what we can throw into the citadel armor. And there we go. That's still a fair amount of weight. We can still armor her a little bit more than that, actually. So I might have been too conservative with my weight saving here. Alternatively, we could leave that for future upgrades. But we do have a little bit of an aft weight offset. I might have to just finagle everything forward a little bit. What's our turret armor? Let's go with 10-inch on the gun turrets, 4 inches on top. Can we get 10 inches on the barbette? 8 inches is what we can get on the barbettes. The 5-inch guns don't really need to be armored. I'm not too concerned about those. And we do have a 50 caliber length, which I'm happy with. And we do have an aft weight offset, which means we do need to probably... There we go. That was easy. Okay, we actually still have 1,000 tons, so we can probably armor these a little bit more. Is there anything else that I've missed before I do that? No, everything looks to be the case. I might be able to, alternatively, I could drop to... not that one. I could go back for the turtleback armor scheme. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Turtleback armor scheme, which gives... because we have the weight to spare. But now I can start getting that up. Can I get a 10-inch belt? Yes, I can. And I get a 6-inch forward belt and a 6-inch aft belt. Yes, I can. And then we make the main deck 5. And that is, I think, the rest we... and that is about as much as we can get. There we go. Fully kitted out. A very slight forward offset, but a pretty balanced ship all in all. Pure gunboat, no torpedoes, because we're not fighting in ranges where we need torpedoes. And the Americans didn't build torpedo cruisers, heavy cruisers at least. So that's the Baltimore class. And I'm quite happy with the ship. We've got a 9.7-inch main belt. That's about as thick as it gets on a heavy cruiser. So she should be able to sustain herself quite well. And we've got a 20,000 kilometer range, which is... Why is this not in miles? Game? Why? We got a 20,000 kilometers, which is gonna be like 12,000 miles or something. I have no idea. For a 400 million, whopping 400 million, how does that compare to the North Carolina? I mean, yes, it's about half the cost of a bit less than half the cost of a North Carolina, twice as much as a Brooklyn, and almost twice as much as in New Orleans. But I think I am liking this, and we do have a three rounds per minute, whereas the New Orleans, I can't tell because it doesn't tell me, but New Orleans definitely has more guns. These things are really more on the rapid reload on the main guns, so we'll see how well they perform, and that's going to be the backbone of our further reaches when it comes to dominating territories. So let's save that design and see how many of these we can get constructed on the quick. Well, nothing's going to be quick about that, but we do have. I mean, it's not that we don't have any. We've got the New Orleans class of heavy cruisers. We've got a fair few of them, so they should be somewhat capable to fill that role in the meantime. We've got a fair amount of light cruisers, and we've still got a decent amount of battleships, although most of them are somewhat aging at this point, and everything except for the Colorado and the Kansas class are a little undergunned. Not politics, finances. We have 140 tons of capacity, so we can build ourselves about maybe 10 of those. Let's build 10 Baltimore class heavy cruisers. There we go. And that means we are relatively at capacity. And since we're at it, let's expand our shipyards, just so we can. All right, so that's happening. We've still got budget left over, and we are yet to come into closer contact with the British. We've still got the major offensive into southern Colombia running to depose the Colombian dictator and introduce freedom and democracy. But I am not so sure about the Dominican Republic. We will see what the British are doing there, but I might be able to just run a naval invasion myself and force their hand to do something. So if they are trying to invade there, we might be starting to take off some of the... I'm not liking the fact that the British are holding territory in the north here either. Or that they're holding the Bermudas. All this gives them... I mean, the Bermudas is probably a relatively small port, but we should be able to take that off them. So we'll deal with that in the next episode. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.